Wow. Oh, there's already so much light. That's so wonderful. Thank you. So all kind of eager to start again. Well, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. So thank you for coming to the Quantum Body Seminar. And today is very precious. It's very subtle and absolutely beautiful what came to me, and I hope to share with you, like convey to you. It is always so different than you expect, and especially in the quantum class that we do now. That's not different. It is like so precious what is presented, that in order to receive this, you will have to come into a place inside yourself where you, yeah, first leave the world news for a moment, leave your telephone for a moment, and leave your agenda for a moment, and leave all your ideas about yourself for a moment. And so the great thing is the excitement of meeting one another in this present moment, seeing that absolutely no time passed whatsoever, and also seeing that we are so lucky to be open to receive what is being given. That's on a scale so vast and huge and so, say, full, that it might be that your cup is running over. It might really be like that. So any kind of expression that you feel bubbling up in you of gratitude or absolute grace, please express it. Let it out. Share it if you feel like doing that. Because you have every reason to. Like, this is over. This is over. We don't have to do this any longer the way we did. And that is so exciting, because it is all brand new. It is happening in this moment. It is given while received. And yeah, that gives so much new life, you know, like it is life itself being shared with us. It's life itself that you start to feel moving you. And you can have that in all kinds of ways, like in a physical sense of feeling that stirring heart opening, or feeling that your body is moving by itself, or feel like so much energy flowing through your system, or even like suddenly you feel like, oh, my third eye is like, wow, received a message here. Or it might be that your crown is opening up and you feel the energy from above just running down through your whole system. Who knows what your expression and experience of this is, but anything is possible if you ask me. Like, that is so great. So, Quantum Body Seminar today, the title was Memory Cells. And like I said, in order to receive this, we enter into this very subtle energy field of unified energy, seeing that there's no obstacle to receive that, to be, it is what you are, so you cannot separate yourself from it. The only thing is that you have to enter into this level in which you can literally receive that subtleness. And in that you feel the power of it, how strong it is, how complete and whole and perfect it is. And this goes into everything that is connected to you, to your cells, to your body, to your relationships, and way beyond all of that. And so a couple of words I want to share, just as almost like a prayer or declaration, just for a moment. It is this: Let go all the trivial things that churn and bubble on the surface of your mind. Let go of all the trivial things that churn and bubble on the surface of your mind and reach down below them to the kingdom of heaven. Reach down below them to the kingdom of heaven. There's a place in you where there is perfect peace. And there's a place in you where nothing is impossible. And there is a place in you where the strength of God abides. So let go of all trivial things that churn and bubble on the surface of your mind and reach down and below them to the kingdom of heaven. There's a place in you where there is perfect peace. There's a place in you where nothing is impossible. And there's a place in you where the strength of God abides. So everything that's going to be shared today, so I'll keep this open and maybe repeat it now and then. So everything that we share today is in fact related to this, even though you cannot maybe not see directly the relationship with what I share, but it will all come together because it's literally the precious place I was talking about. It's like the kingdom of heaven is within you. So that is exactly the place where it all comes together. And don't underestimate the newness of this discovery that I share with you. Like, it is so brand new. It is way beyond the edge of science. It is really way beyond that. And so even though we use parts of the medical science and physics and quantum physics and all this, what this is referring to is like the ultimate, in fact, the ultimate discovery of science, which is happening in your mind when you try to open yourself up to receive this today. That's why I share this in the email that I send out to. It's like the discovery that is going to be shared with you is going to put everything so well in one place, and that is like so clear in my mind that I love to share that with you. And that clarity is of such incredible gentleness and loveliness that I don't know how to share that with you, but you can come into the direct experience of that. And every part to hear this is basically the undoing even of the physics, of the quantum physics theory about it, and the medical theory about it, entering into the essence of it. So now, to start slowly with the approach through the physics and medical science, we're going to watch a little movie. It's on YouTube. I will share it with you. I shared it with you, the participants in this class. I shared it with you already. I don't know if you had a chance, but it's great to watch it. So that's why we use this today too, because we have time to do so. Which is
Imagine two people are listening to music. What are the odds that they are listening to the exact same playlist? Probably pretty low. After all, everyone has very different tastes in music. Now, what are the odds that your body will need the exact same medical care and treatment as another person's body? Even lower. As we go through our lives, each of us will have very different needs for our own health care. Scientists and doctors are constantly researching ways to make medicine more personalized. One way they are doing this is by researching stem cells. Stem cells are cells that are undifferentiated, meaning they do not have a specific job or function. While skin cells protect your body, muscle cells contract, and nerve cells send signals, stem cells do not have any specific structures or functions. Stem cells do have the potential to become all other kinds of cells in your body. Your body uses stem cells to replace worn-out cells when they die. For example, you completely replace the lining of your intestines every 4 days. Stem cells beneath the lining of your intestines replace these cells as they wear out. Scientists hope that stem cells could be used to create a very special kind of personalized medicine in which we could replace your own body parts with, well, your own body parts. Stem cell researchers are working hard to find ways in which to use stem cells to create new tissue to replace the parts of organs that are damaged by injury or disease. Using stem cells to replace damaged bodily tissue is called regenerative medicine. For example, scientists currently use stem cells to treat patients with blood diseases such as leukemia. Leukemia is a form of cancer that affects your bone marrow. Bone marrow is the spongy tissue inside your bones where your blood cells are created. In leukemia, some of the cells inside your bone marrow grow uncontrollably, crowding out the healthy stem cells that form your blood cells. Some leukemia patients can receive a stem cell transplant. These new stem cells will create the blood cells needed by the patient's body. There are actually multiple kinds of stem cells that scientists can use for medical treatments and research. Adult stem cells or tissue-specific stem cells are found in small numbers in most of your body's tissues. Tissue-specific stem cells replace the existing cells in your organs as they wear out and die. Embryonic stem cells are created from leftover embryos that are willingly donated by patients from fertility clinics. Unlike tissue-specific stem cells, embryonic stem cells are pluripotent. This means that they can be grown into any kind of tissue in the body. A third kind of stem cells is called induced pluripotent stem cells. These are regular skin, fat, liver, or other cells that scientists have changed to behave like embryonic stem cells. Like embryonic stem cells, they too can become any kind of cell in the body. While scientists and doctors hope to use all of these kinds of stem cells to create new tissue to heal your body, they can also use stem cells to help understand how the body works. Scientists can watch stem cells develop into tissue to understand the mechanisms that the body uses to create new tissue in a controlled and regulated way. Scientists hope that with more research, they can not only develop specialized medicine that is specific to your body, but also better understand how your body functions, both when it's healthy and when it's not.
Okay, so that was a bit of, say, medical science and some, say, modern medical science, very basic in a sense. So they're talking about these stem cells, and why are we even talking about that today here in quantum body class too? Like, what is so interesting about that? So one of the things that you might have recognized is the way that the voiceover was talking about it is the limited way of seeing the body in terms of it can be sick, it can be well, it can do this, it can do that. And so that is, say, the human way of referencing the body and using it the same as they would have used healing. It's like you do a healing, then the body is repaired instead of recognizing your source. You know, this is the step that is not taken at all in this story, of course. And so today we look at specifically that too. It's like the way that you think about who you are. Well, that has a big impact on every aspect of your experience of yourself, say, expressed through in your body too. That is no exception. And say, we all learn the things that we learn in sense of, look at this, the humanhood is about 40,000 years old or something. It's like not very old. But what have we taught ourselves is what you see in your daily life, when you turn on the television, or when you hear your neighbor talk, or maybe even when you recognize what you're thinking yourself. And so the amazing thing is then that there has developed a way of looking at yourself in which you are separate from God, from everything that is, from the universe, instead of coming closer into a beautiful relationship with everything that is, and keeping that as your greatest good, sharing and joining in that in every step of your life, like literally being at peace with all of it, so that has not occurred. But say in the research and seeing that, well, that doesn't work out. I'm getting sick. I'm having this kind of disease. There's a whole world full of disease. There are epidemics and all that. It's like there's who knows what name you got for it. Pandemics, you name it. Like that is really, really developed itself into even more separation and complexity. So all this has nothing to do with the simplicity of the truth of who you are, of course, and you know this. So on our way back from that, we discover more and more, even in medical science, in physics and all that, in the sense of this body functions in a certain way. It is able to repair itself very well. It has cells inside its body cells that don't even know what they are. They can become anything and repair the body automatically all the time. So that is a really interesting idea. So, but I'm going to pause here for a moment and bring in our first visitor. Oh, this was actually the second. I'm going to bring in the mother again, the mother in which we left off the last time. Like the mother shared with us, is like, in your transformation, in your spiritual development, literally the manager has been taken over. It's like you run your life, you run your body, and you think you're doing the right thing. But then in your awakening, your awakening process happening, you see that that has been taken over. So your body doesn't respond the way that you're used to. You see that things are changing, that even your body shape or your face shape or your body weight can change. Just to mention a couple of things. Your hormonal balance might change, your heartbeat might change. And all this, like all these physical aspects of new ideas coming into your cellular construction of yourself, that is taking place. So the mother tells us about that really in a really great way. And like I said, where we left off the last time was more like, yeah, okay, you're not in charge anymore. The charge has been taken over. And your cells are protesting against it. Or your body can do that too. You can have cramps, you can have more headaches, you can have more this or more that. And it doesn't necessarily need to be that way, but there's a good chance that you have some of these, say, symptoms, which is perfectly normal. So then the next step, she will let us know what is going on, at least a little bit. But it's great to read this together. That's why I bring it in. So this is another segment of it, a little step further from what we just saw, but very close to the cellular response. So here in the book, I used the book The Mind of the Cells. On page 143 it says this: the body is learning the lesson of illness, of the illusion of illness. It's very, very amusing, the difference between the thing itself as it is, the disorder, whatever it is, and the old habit of feeling and receiving the thing. The ordinary habit, what people call an illness. I am ill. That's very amusing. And always, if you stay truly still in the vital and mind, it's very easy. But in the body cells, it's a little difficult. It has to be learned. But when you are able to be truly still, there's always a little light. A warm little light. Very bright. And wonderfully still. Behind. As if it were saying, you only have to will. You only have to will. But then, the body cells panic. Will how? How can I? The illness is on me. I am overcome. It's an illness. The whole drama. Then something says, calm down, calm down, calm down. Don't remain attached to your illness. So in the end, the cells consent. On this moment, they consent. The next minute, the illness is over. Not the next minute, a few seconds and it's over. Then the cells remember. But how come? I had pain here. Pop. It comes all back. And the whole drama unfolds like that, constantly. So if they really learned the lesson, life is on the verge of becoming wonderful. But we don't know how to live it. We still have to learn. So I think that's a great way of expressing that. It's like, yeah, you can have great ideas. Conceptually, you got it. It's like, yeah, sure, of course. When the light comes into my body, everything changes and whoosh, I'm healthy, whole and perfect. Yes, that's going really well. And then the cells seem to be like walking a little bit behind. And there's some memory of the illness still in the system. And bringing that back into your consciousness, in fact. It's like reminding you of the fact, like, no, you're not healed. Wait a minute. Okay, you were healed just a moment ago, but I don't think it's completely gone. So this repeats itself over and over and over until it doesn't, of course. And it can change in an instant if you stay with that and don't wonder what the hell occurred, but just accept it as it came to you and stay with that. Like if I speak from experience, that's exactly what happened to me when I started to, decide. Smoking, drinking and all this does not have anything for me anymore. And it was like that dissolved right there in that moment. And that was never an issue ever again. Like that, suddenly that is gone. Bringing it up to the last moment in which I actually meant what I said, the shift occurred. You know, so this is the way you can do, the way that's available too. It doesn't need to be repeated. But like she says too, it's like that it is something to see this develop. Like, however deep you are in this drama of illness, however deep you are in an idea that something is wrong with you that came to you, it's like literally overcome, that you cannot do anything about it. See, that makes it impossible for you to be healed of it. So bringing it back to the idea is like, okay, so it started with me. It started right here with me. I started to become accustomed to the idea of illness, and I started to accept it. My whole body is responding that way to what I think, of course. It starts with what I think about it, and whether that's conscious or not. But that is the programming that takes place. So the miraculous part is the light and love that comes in, that you start to remember your connectedness to all of it. In that moment, you are healed. You know, I've seen this with many people. It's like I've seen this with so many people that there's a moment of healing, complete healing. The next moment, there's a question or there's an uncertainty or doubt that pops in. And it seems like the whole thing did not work. So this is something that you have to be patient with yourself, or stay with the fact that nothing happened afterwards, and that you are healed, and that it was successful, that you start to remember your true essence and the true vibration of your cells. So this comes back to the stem cells too, because you see the stem cells are being programmed literally. Like, if I have an idea that I can use stem cells to repair a body, that's exactly what will occur. If I use it as an idea, okay. So if I start to use this, coming from a whole idea about myself, knowing that my body is repairing itself and rejuvenating itself automatically, say, fed by source, of course my body is going to be perfect. There's nothing that can have any kind of say, symptoms of oldness or longevity or anything like that. In fact, you stay right here. You receive that for yourself, and you're in that, say, remembrance. So this is really beautiful. So I'm happy to be here with you and looking at this. So you see, medical science has, of course, a way of looking at things, and based on research, which is also based on a vision, thinking that this and this can occur because based on the past, it has to be like this. So it is never free of the past. So it's always like it stays in time. It is not miraculous whatsoever. It stays in time. It is related to a longevity, to a timeline, and anchored into time continuously, based on past learning, thinking that there will be a different future. See how fundamental this is? It's unbelievable. But see, sleepiness would miss it. You would miss it, that there's an option that has nothing to do with time, like the miraculous part of healing. And that's what I love about, say, what I shared with you too in one of the articles. Is like stem cell research, but then different, coming from a whole idea about yourself, seeing that this new stem cell full of light and love can repair every aspect of your body, but not that alone. It is actually supporting you in your resurrection, in your resurrecting body. And you say like, well, that's too far away, that's to this or to that. Well, in every definition of you holding this back, that is the consequence that you experience in the way that you experience yourself, in fact. So it's always directly related. And that's your choice, no one else's. So with I sent this out, this one of the talks of Master Teacher, you see that he shares about this very simple principle, but in a very, very lovely way that really opened my eyes today again. When I read it, it's like, oh yeah, that's why I sent it out. It's too lovely. And I'd love to share that with you. So, talking about the embryonic stem cells, like the undifferentiated stem cells that can become any kind of cell. Here we go. Now, embryonically, we want you to see that the origination of a single cell actually has the capacity to reproduce itself. Yet it is always going to be limited somewhere by the idea that in the DNA correspondent with itself will be in continuing repetition. Look at me. Of how it sees itself, without the fundamental admission that the responsibility for the sight of how it sees itself within the light factor of the mind is actually only echoes or ideas about the massive power of light. We used to like to use the term 1 billion times greater than this little limited reflection. And just as obviously, since it is cellularly contained within your own body definition, the utilization of the regeneration of your body cells, we use the term, once again, reformulation, in revelation or recognition of resurrection. That in the reappearance of our Savior, the reappearance of Jesus, all that he's really going to show you in the light factor of your mind is the instant of your individual capacity to reproduce yourself cellularly. Now this is, if you can repeat this by heart on tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock, then that's really great. So it seems like difficult to read, but it's actually not that difficult. So it is based on the recognition of if you allow this light of the truth of who you are to, say, penetrate, if you want, your physicality, your cells, with a light that is 1 billion times stronger than the limited vision that you have as a human being. 1 billion times stronger light that is actually coming into your system, like little rays of that shining right through the moments that you keep a bit of space between your thoughts. You allow it to come into your mind. It has an immediate effect on every part of your body, so that the stem cells are actually activated to reproduce themselves in the new light that you recognize in yourself. Because don't forget that everything is consciousness. Everything is consciousness. So that is a total key of awakening, for one thing, but also for healing and for the recognition that even though you don't understand what this all says, is like being open to allow this light to come to you without defending yourself against it, allowing new ideas, whole new ideas to come to you, has an immediate and total effect on every aspect of your body, of your relationships, of the world, the way that you see the world, the way that you experience yourself. You know, in this, this is so great. So it's hard to express it, but it's very clear in my mind in a certain sense. It is like the thing that science is doing is like discovering little aspects of all this, how this is going to say come together. For instance, one of the questions of the scientists that I wanted to show too, but I'm not going to do it. But one of the scientists said, how is it possible that when a stem cell comes to your inner lining of your intestines, that it knows to become a cell like that? How does it know? How does it come to that information? Like where are the sensors for it? How does it know it? And then that to a medical scientist is the most difficult question to search for. Like how can you possibly do that? And in the recognition, like we were sharing, like the recognition of this pure whole light, energy, wholeness light, like this billion times stronger light that we're talking about, is the revelation possible? Is knowing possible? Is why? How do you know? Because you're completely connected with it. You're absolutely a whole part of it. That's how it knows. That's how it can work. So whether you see the cell as a part of your body or a human, a part of a whole world in that sense, that is the same idea. Like that relates to it in the same way. How do you know how to respond to any of the situations? Well, if you're in a state of knowing, you have no consideration, no doubt, and no fear about it. You just know. And this is the natural state of a human being. Like this is in fact the natural state of man, of spiritual man we call it, but it's actually the only, say, normal communicating essence that is in relationship with everything. And this is literally you in your awakening. Like you start to discover that everything is wholly related, and that knowing is just the basic, say, attribute of you. Knowing is part of you, and in that everything can work, as in literally as heaven. It is whole. It's perfect. There's no conflict in it. There's no competition in it. There's no deviation. There's no analysis. It doesn't need to be looked at to see like how does this work. No, it knows all these things. The same with your cells, like having a perfect embryonic, say, light stem cell. It knows what to do, how to repair, because it's not going to be stopped from its natural function of unifying with every aspect, without a limit. So it's like continuously reproducing itself in its wholeness. It sees it everywhere. It doesn't see any, say, exceptions. It is not in conflict. It is in a continuous flow of life. It is what life is. So in this is what I said, like it brings you to this incredible subtle place in which you can actually feel that this is true. You know that this is true. You know this. You recognize this. Of course it works like that. How else would it work? It is logic with a capital L. You know, so that's just amazing. So that's why I'd like, well, you have no idea what discovery you're going to make today, because this is like beyond science. This is beyond the medical science. This is beyond all of that kind of logic with a small l. It has nothing to do with that any longer. And it doesn't exclude it either. But it has nothing to do with it, because this is the realm of knowing. So to bring it back to what the mother shared with, well, your cells are not going to accept this right away. So this, in fact, with me sharing this to you, with the energy and the light that is the provision behind all of this, is going to stir something up that you have no idea about. Like, this has an incredible impact on you in your awakening. So this is an incredible speed up that is given us today in this procedure. And you want to be, say, in the sphere of knowing. You want to discover what that is. You have an incredible motivation now to see it all at work in the perfection in which it is made, in which it is created. I hope so. Okay, so on page 144 of the Mind of the Cells, she says this: the greatest difficulty is that the body's texture, is made of ignorance, so that every time the force, like the billion times stronger force, the light, the power of the other state, try to penetrate somewhere, that ignorance has to be dislodged. Every time the experience is similar, renewed in detail. It's a sort of negation out of ignorant stupidity. It's sort of negation out of ignorant stupidity. At every step, in every detail, it is always the same thing that has to be dissolved. The first reaction is an automatic negation. Then there's always a smile that answers, with a capital S. Smile that answers. And almost instantly the pain disappears. And that settles in, luminous, tranquil. It isn't final. Mind you, only a first contact. The experience recurs on another occasion, and there's already a beginning of collaboration. The cells have learned that with that, the state changed. Very interestingly, they remember. So they begin to collaborate. And the action is even more rapid. Then a third time. A few hours away, it recurs once again, but then the cells themselves call, because they remember. Now I've got it, I've got the knack. It's for training the cells, you understand. It's not just like a sick person who has to be cured once and for all. No, it is a training of the cells to teach them to live. I love this. I love this. So that's so great. I love that. So the cells have to be trained to live. Like, you've no idea how dead you are as a human being. You just don't know how dead you are. Even your cells have to learn to live again. Can you imagine? It's like, wow, that's a sad story. But it's reversible. It can change. So that is a real release right there. It's like, it can change. Your cells will start to remember light. It will start to come into a new habit of learning light instead of darkness and depression and damage and all this. So that's pretty wild. So Gina, I will come to you in a moment. I'm just trying to continue this first. So otherwise I get out of my line here. So this is really great. I love to hear questions. So if you have a question, just ask me after this. Just a moment here. So the cells have to learn to live. Is that amazing? So allow the light to come in, not stopping to do that. It's like it has to be learned on a daily basis. That's why 40-day intensive can be very helpful. You literally have 40 days to reprogram your whole system. Yes, here's light. No, wait with your comments. No, wait with your resistance. No, let it come up. It's okay, but don't do anything with it. Allow it to be healed. And say literally like overwhelm it with light and love. And allow that. Take time to integrate that. Take time to let it come to you. And to let your mind be changed in that sense. And here's another moment of allowing that light to come to you. So this is lovely and recognizable. You probably recognize this in your way of waking up. Yeah, so here's a couple of things from Master Teacher that I love to share. If I've decided to make available to you, with your permission, my individual capacity along with yours, if you should decide to exercise it, that we are contained in the entirety of memories that we have about ourselves as a human body. So we're going to what? We're going to have to utilize the memories about ourselves in ancient traditions in the short interlude. Let's use 40,000 years. In the short interlude of 40,000 years, we have remained in replication of the idea of a duplicity of a single cell relationship that requires no division whatsoever. It is the simple idea that the entirety of our source of reality is coming from the power of the universe, from God, in which we, whether we participate cellularly in our relationship with ourselves, cannot be more or less than how we feel about ourselves, as demonstrating our own individual capacity as recognized by, say to me, self-recognition. This will be now, and then I'll do one more paragraph. This will be from the resurrected mind of Jesus. The very obvious difficulty within the idea that you're utilizing in your mind, look with me, cannot be the conceptual conflict that you feel, not only in the idea of who you are in reflected light ideas about yourself, but in the retention of the repetition of your body idea in order to be this 80-year-old guy. Look at it with me. Now, they ask me, and this is kind of an exciting procedure, and we're not going to make it evident until somewhere perhaps you can see that I'm regenerating my stem cell adult ideas of continuing repetition in ideas of capacity to convert it in a light energy idea about myself, my own body. So I'll repeat the last sentence one more time. It's a pretty long one. Now they ask me, and this is kind of an exciting procedure, and we're not going to make it evident until somewhere perhaps you can see that I'm regenerating my stem cell adult ideas into continuing repetition in ideas of capacity to convert light energy ideas I hold about myself, my own body. So I try to, as I express this as the fact that once you allow the cells to open for the light, to let that come in, that has an impact on your whole reparative system of your body. It's like literally your body starts to vibrate in a whole different frequency. Your stem cells know where to go. Your, like, everything is suddenly based on this knowing that I shared with you, instead of limited human ideas that continuously are based on disease, disaster, and death. Like, it doesn't even vibrate at a live frequency. It is dense, it is hard, it is heavy, it is difficult. You know, that is the human, say, body when it regenerates darkness. In fact, the texture, as the mother said, the texture of the body is ignorance. So in order for that to open up, the light starts to come in. The resistance is dissolving, certainly, but slowly. And suddenly your body starts to work in a whole different way. Your centers are opening up. Suddenly you feel lighter. And ideas are released about how you think about yourself. You don't even remember them. Like, literally, your memory of that is gone. You cannot repeat that same story over and over and over again if you're seriously in this training. You will not be able to repeat them because you won't simply remember it anymore. The only remembrance that you have is close to this present moment in which you receive the light and love that you are, and start to recognize that and celebrate that and allow that to come in more and more and more and more. So that takes over. So then it's really like you don't remember how you did the things that you did before, how you thought about yourself, what you called yourself. So that brings it to me like perfectly together in a whole stem cell. Like, there only needs to be one perfect cell in that sense, and that is you in this whole system, communicating perfectly with every aspect of creation, being the life that you are, being the life as you were created and are being created all the time. So that's what I call like science with a capital S. And I love to share this with you. But like I said, it is so great because you feel directly the connection with what is shared. Like, that is so lovely. It say invites you. Literally, you receive your calling on a physical level. Every cell is screaming for you to wake up and come into this experience of wholeness, of knowing, of revelation, of illumination. Not bringing the past back in, not having these old memories forming a new pattern. No, just letting all that go. You can't remember it completely anyway. So you hold on to parts of it maybe, but let that go too. So the result is then a rejuvenating body that takes care of itself and is not in the way at all. Like, you won't even feel it in that sense. So thank you for putting up with me here in this little quick stem cell research a la crème meeting that we have. So thank you for that, for your loveliness and all the love that is being shared in this moment. Thank you for all of it. Thank you.